Hey guys, Rominating Reaper here. So I've just finished watching season 2 of Andor, which they've notably brought back the Star Wars story moniker for, first time since Solo.
It's been 84 years.
This is of course created by Tony Gilroy, with writing contributions from his brother Dan Gilroy, director of Nightcrawler, and Beau Willimon, who wrote one of season 1's best episodes, One Way Out, and will also be writing the Dawn of the Jedi film for James Mangold. Look, it goes without saying, season 1 set the bar high, because it's not just the best thing Disney has done with the Star Wars IP, it's a legitimately fantastic piece of TV in its own right. No pressure to live up to that, but since we're back in trustworthy hands with Gilroy, as the song said, I ain't worried about it. But does this season live up to the high standard set by season 1? Let's find out. So in the season, Cassian Andor have been working closely with Luthen Rael, carrying out missions to find intelligence that could potentially bring the rebellion closer to victory in its long-running battle against the Galactic Empire. However, Cassian soon finds himself up against something much bigger than himself, when it's discovered that the Empire has plans for the planet Gorman, being overseen by Orson Krennic, who also has a deadly agenda of his own. So this is what we like to refer to as the difficult second album, wherein a creative or film franchise or TV show has a lot of pressure on them to live up to the high standard they set the first time around, and in a lot of cases the results vary. But I'm happy to report that Andor Season 2 is another brilliant season. It is a fittingly fantastic conclusion to the show, and it really is a shame that this is the end, because this truly is the best thing Disney has done with the franchise, and this just solidifies it. So that there are definitely some issues here. I'll get my one negative out of the way. There are some pacing issues early on in the first few episodes. Some stuff kind of drags on, particularly the wedding stuff, while other stuff feels kind of rushed. You can definitely see where it's been cut down from a multi-season plan. But it all pays off, because this is a show that just builds and builds and builds in intensity and stakes over the course of this new batch of 12 episodes. And it is incredibly gripping stuff, It's yet another grounded and genuinely mature thriller that, offers up just another genuinely brilliant piece of TV. And obviously, yes, it's going for that resistance story angle again, and they do a good job of actually, literalizing that by having the Gorman people actually seemingly be French. It's a particularly interesting take on it, and I think it works very, very well. But at its core in this story, there are some very, very interesting messages, particularly one about the high cost of freedom and very much the things we are willing to sacrifice to stand up and fight for what we believe in. And obviously, of course, at the centre of this, we have, once again, Diego Luna as Cassian. He does a great job as a guy who, on the one hand, wants to do his bit to fight the Empire, but also is trying to think rationally and tactically, but very much finds his commitment to the cause put to the test, and he does a great job. This show's done a really fantastic job of, adding all these layers and these complex morals to this character, and yeah, Luna really, really sells it. We also have Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen Rael, who's very much becoming increasingly paranoid as sort of the network he builds gets deeper and deeper. And a very nice touch, they add some new layers to the character, particularly in his relationship with Clea. But Skarsgård does such a fantastic job with this quite multifaceted character who on the one hand is tough and firm, but also can be kind of more outgoing and a little bit camp, but also has these layers of humanity deep within him, and he really, really sells it. He does a fantastic job. We also have Adria Arjona as Bix, who is very much, still reeling from the torture that she faced at the end of last season. But, very much with her commitment to the cause and Cassian by her side, she very much, battles her trauma head on, and she does a great job. She's really been crushing it. She's had very interesting roles in stuff like Hitman and Blink Twice, and of course, this role here just really continues that hot streak for her. Very much rounding things out. We also have like the likes of Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma, who, on one hand, yes, is willing to risk everything to speak out for, what is right, but also is quite unsure of who to actually trust within her inner circle. She does a great job, and again, I really enjoyed what they've done with this character over these 2 seasons. A notable character here is, of course, Saw Gerrera, once again played by Forrest Whitaker, who has lost a bit of his grasp on sanity in, his fight for freedom, and Whitaker, once again does a great job as this character. On the flip side of things, the show does a really, really great job of showing just how much of a threat the Empire can be. Obviously, we've got Ben Mendelsohn back as Krennic, who, when he really locks in, he is such a ferocious presence. Starts out a little bit camp, but also, just really puts the foot down and becomes such a threat. Mendelsohn is, always fantastic, and this is no exception. I really enjoyed Denise Goff's role as Dedra Meero, who, becomes much more like ambitious and, ruthless and driven over the course of this season. And man, she really crushes it. I also really enjoyed the direction they took Cyril Karn in. I thought Kyle Soller does such a fantastic job with this guy who very much finds his, loyalty to the Empire put into question, and also becomes legitimately quite frightening towards the end here. He is so good. Of course, this is another really well-made season too. There's so much craft has gone into this. You can really see every penny of the 600 million they've spent for the 2 seasons. There's some really great production design mixed in with seamless visual effects. The cinematography, is just so full of aura, man. It's beautiful. The score is great as well. Obviously, Nicholas Bertel's themes are preserved here, but also Brandon Roberts, who steps up for this season, does a really great job of really selling the urgency of the galactic level stakes. Oh, and of course, yes, that Neamos theme, absolute banger once again. It is just, genuinely a fantastically made show. Why don't they put this much effort into other Star Wars shows, man? But where this show really comes alive is in the second half. Man, all the stuff on Gorman, holy fuck. Yeah, this is just so tense, like an absolute shotgun blast of tension release. Seriously, episode 8 in particular, I had multiple times I had to try and catch my breath. It is so suspenseful. And it feels so, like, frighteningly timely. The Gorman massacre, which of course has been widely talked about, really feels frighteningly in line with, current scenes, particularly in America recently. But it very much is an interesting thing of how, like, the winner is very much the one who controls the narrative. It's really interesting stuff. And of course, the final couple episodes really run with that momentum build to really bring the stakes to a high, but to fittingly close out a fantastic show, but also really wonderfully sets the stage for where we know things are going to end up in Rogue One, which, by the way, I cannot wait to revisit now. Overall, Andor Season 2 delivers another fantastic batch of episodes, delivering a fittingly brilliant conclusion with grounded and mature writing to deliver a truly fantastic piece of TV. Star Wars will never be good again. Out of 10, Andor Season 2 gets a 9. So, let me know down in the comments, have you seen Season 2 of Andor? Or what did you think of it? What did you make of it in comparison to Season 1? And have you revisited Rogue One yet with these 2 seasons in mind? Let me know all that down in the comments, and let me know, would you like to see Star Wars tackle more mature shows like this? Let me know that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.